Hey scholars, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we are working on Module 5, Lesson 7, Fluency and Application Problem. For Fluency, you do not need any materials because we are going to work on counting. So let's go ahead and get started. On my screen, we have the numbers 1 through 30. We are actually going to count starting from the number 1, and we're going to stop at the number 30. But we're not going to say all the numbers out loud. The numbers that are not circled, we're going to whisper those numbers. For the numbers that are circled, we're going to say them out loud. So remember, if they're not circled, what are we going to do? We're going to whisper those numbers. And if they are circled, what are we going to do? We're going to say them out loud. So let's get started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All right. So we just finished our fluency for today. And did you notice something about the numbers that are circled? Well, the numbers that we said out loud, we were counting by fives. So that's why we only said those numbers out loud. Well, now we are going to move on to our application problem.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. So, for our application problem today, it says, Peter set up 5 rectangular prisms to make 5 towers. He put a cone on top of 3 of the towers. How many more cones does Peter need to have a cone on every tower? So I already have my cubes written out on my paper so I can remember to do every step. And now, let's see, what are we going to do for our first step in cubes? We need to circle key, numbers, and labels. Now let me give you a hint. There are some extra numbers in here. They are important for us to know what to do for our drawing and how to solve, but we have an extra number here. So don't get tricked. So now that I gave you a hint, what do you think we're going to circle? I know some of you might have said Peter, but for this word problem, I don't want to circle Peter because we only have one person in here and we don't really need that in our drawing. But we do need to circle 5 rectangular prisms. Because that's going to help me out with my drawing. And if you said 5 towers, we're not going to circle that, but that is important to keep in mind for our drawing. Because if I circle 5 towers, you're going to think I'm doing 5, and I might be adding or subtracting 5 more, but I'm not doing that. So let's look at our next sentence. He put a cone on top of the 3 towers. This one might be a little tricky, so I can help you out. Now, the word cone is important for our label because that tells us what shape we need to draw next. And it said he put 3 cones on top of Well, he put the cones on top of 3 of the towers. I kind of gave it away, but we're going to circle 3 because that also tells me how many I need to draw. So we completed the C in cubes. Now, what do I need to do next? I need to underline a question, and that is, how many more cones does Peter need to have a cone on every tower? So that is our question. So let's go ahead and underline that one. And we can go ahead and check that off. Now for B, I need to box my keywords. That will help me understand if I'm going to add or if I'm going to subtract. So what do you think my keywords will be? If you said how many more, you're correct. So let's go ahead and box that. Now remember, if I see how many more, I automatically know in my head I am comparing. Now I need to know how many more do I need to add. So I'm going to subtract. Let's go ahead and do that. Write the minus sign here. Just a little too close to the line. And then we're going to circle it. Got that step down? Now we need to shake it off. What does E stand for? We're going to evaluate, or we're going to think about what we know. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to think about what you know from our word problem. All right. So after you've done that, you can go ahead and put a check mark above the E. Now all you need to do is solve. So I'm going to let you solve this one by yourself. So you go ahead and pause this video. And when you're ready to check your answers with mine, you can go ahead and press play. Welcome back. All right, so now we can go ahead and we can compare our answers. My drawing. If yours does not look exactly like mine, it's okay. But I know from my word problems, I had 2 labels. So my C is for cone, and my R is for rectangular prism. If you're wondering why I put my rectangular prism at the bottom, because in my word problem, he said that he put the cones on top of 3 towers. So that's just why I put my cones on top. But I know here, it says you get 5 rectangular prisms. So here, I have 5 rectangular prisms. And he put, let me make sure you can see the whole thing. And he put a cone on top of 3 towers. So if he put a cone on top of 3 towers, I need to make sure I have 3 of my rectangular prisms need to have a cone on top of them. So that's why I have 3 cones here. And then my number sentence. I have 5 minus 3 equals, I probably should turn it up, but 2C. The C stands for cones. So I need to answer how many more cones he needed for the towers. And that's how I came up with 2 cones. Another thing you can do is you can go back to your picture. I see that 3 of my towers have cones on top of them. But then I have 1, 2, of my towers are rectangular prisms that do not have cones. So that also matches my answer right here. Now, before I show you my statement, go ahead and share with me what you wrote down for your statement to answer our question. How many more cones does Peter need to have? A cone on every tower. And if you didn't have a chance to write it down, that's okay. What would you have written down? Those sound like some great answers. Here's my sentence right here. I wrote, Peter needs 2 more cones. And that's my statement. Let's not forget, I did the last step in cube, so don't forget to go up here, check off S, and you can see that you did all the steps in cube. All right, so you can tune in for Miss Schneider's video. She's going to teach you the rest of our lesson. See you tomorrow.